They betrayed the tribal chief. They disrespected the family, and at Crown Jewel 2025, Solo Sikoa had the audacity to call himself the new tribal chief while standing across the ring from the man who carried WWE on his back for over 1,200 days. This wasn't just a match, this was a reckoning. This was the moment the real Bloodline stood face to face with the pretenders who thought they could steal a legacy built on blood, sweat, and dominance. What we witnessed in Saudi Arabia wasn't just another six-man tag team match. This was family warfare at its most brutal, most personal, most intense level. And if you think you know what happened, think again, because the story behind this match goes deeper than anything you saw on your screen. Before we break down every earth-shattering moment of this historic encounter, we have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Now, let me take you back to how we got here. Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion for a record-breaking reign, lost his titles at WrestleMania 40 to Cody Rhodes. But that loss wasn't the worst part. The worst part? While Roman was gone, taking time away from WWE, his own enforcer Solo Sikoa decided to stage a coup. Solo didn't just take over the Bloodline, he dismantled everything Roman built. He kicked out Jey Uso. He brought in Tamar Tonga, Tona Loa, and Jacob Fatu. He declared himself the tribal chief. Here's a trivia question for you. How many days did Roman Reigns hold the Universal Championship during his historic title reign? Drop your answer in the comments below. When Roman finally returned, the disrespect was unimaginable. Solo refused to acknowledge him. The new Bloodline attacked him. Even Paul Heyman, Roman's own wise man, was put through a table by this imposter faction. The OG tribal chief had no choice. He needed backup. He needed family. He needed the only two men who had stood by his side through the golden era of the Bloodline's dominance, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. But here's where it gets complicated. Jey and Jimmy, they had been at war with each other and with Roman for over a year. Jey finally broke free from Roman's manipulation. Jimmy was torn between loyalty and independence. These brothers had beaten each other senseless, said things that couldn't be unsaid, and walked separate paths. Roman had controlled them, manipulated them, and used them as weapons for years. So when Roman came asking for help, you know what the Usos said? They said no. They told him to handle his own mess. They reminded him of every time he belittled them, every time he called them Little Uso, every time he made them feel inferior. The man who demanded acknowledgement couldn't get it from his own family, but blood is thicker than water, and when Solo Sikoa and his crew kept attacking, kept disrespecting the family name, kept spitting on the legacy that Jimmy and Jey helped build, they had no choice. At Crown Jewel, the original Bloodline would reunite one more time to take down the pretenders. Crown Jewel 2025, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The atmosphere was electric. When Roman Reigns' music hit, the crowd erupted. The tribal chief walked to that ring with the intensity of a man on a mission, not for glory, not for championships, but for respect, for family, for the legacy that Solo Sikoa tried to steal. Then came the Usos, and the pop was deafening. Jimmy and Jey, reunited as a team, threw up the ones alongside Roman Reigns for the first time in over a year. It was a moment that gave you chills. This was the Bloodline that dominated WWE. This was the faction that ran roughshod over every tag team, every challenger, every obstacle in their path. But across the ring stood Solo Sikoa, Tamar Tonga, and the absolutely monstrous Jacob Fatu. And let me tell you something about Jacob Fatu, this man is a problem. At 6'2" and nearly 300 pounds, Fatu moves like a cruiserweight but hits like a freight train. His moonsault is a thing of beauty and destruction. The moment he stepped in the ring with Roman, you could feel the tension. Here's another trivia question. Who was not part of Solo Sikoa's Bloodline faction at Crown Jewel? Was it Jacob Fatu, Tona Loa, or Tamar Tonga? Comment your answer. The match started with an intensity I've rarely seen in WWE. This wasn't about wrestling holds or technical prowess, this was about violence. This was about sending a message. Roman and Solo locked eyes, and you could see years of brotherhood, respect, and now betrayal burning between them. The Usos brought that classic tag team chemistry that made them 9-time tag team champions. Their superkicks were crisp, their double-team maneuvers were flawless. But Jacob Fatu? He was a force of nature. Every time he got in the ring, he brought an aggression and athleticism that had the crowd on their feet. His suicide dive over the top rope sent bodies flying. His hip attack in the corner looked like it legitimately knocked the wind out of Jey Uso. The turning point came when all 6 men were brawling on the outside. The referee had completely lost control. This wasn't a match anymore, this was a street fight disguised as a tag team bout. Tables were pulled out. Steel steps became weapons. The announce table was in danger. Roman Reigns, channeling the rage of a man whose empire was stolen, hit Solo Sikoa with a Superman punch that echoed through the stadium. but Solo powered through it, showing the resilience and toughness of the Anoa'i bloodline. These men don't stay down easy. They are warriors bred from generations of Samoan wrestling royalty. Then Jimmy and Jey, working in perfect synchronization like they had never been apart, hit a double superkick on Tamar Tonga that sent him crashing through the barricade. The crowd was losing their minds. This was the Usos at their absolute peak. This was why they are considered one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history. But Jacob Thatcher wasn't done. In a moment that had everyone in the arena holding their breath, Thatcher climbed to the top rope while opponents were laid out inside and outside the ring. Then he launched himself, all 295 pounds of him, in a moonsault to the outside that took out everyone. Bodies were scattered everywhere like a bomb had gone off. We have to pause and acknowledge something here at Wrestling Zone Insider. Moments like this are why we cover professional wrestling with such passion. This storytelling, this athleticism, this raw emotion is what makes WWE special. The final sequence of the match was insane. Roman had Solo set up for the spear, the move that had finished off legends and champions for years. But Jacob Thatcher intercepted with a superkick out of nowhere. Solo recovered and hit his own Samoan spike on Roman. It looked like the new Bloodline was about to prove they were the real Bloodline. But then the Usos came flying in with stereo superkicks that rocked Solo and Thatcher. Roman, fueled by pride and redemption, speared Solo Psycho so hard I thought he broke him in half. The pin, the 1, 2, 3. The original Bloodline stood tall. The aftermath was beautiful chaos. Roman, Jimmy, and Jey stood in the center of the ring, exhausted, battered, but victorious. For one night, they were a family again. They threw up the ones together as the crowd chanted Tribal Chief. The respect, the acknowledgement Roman had demanded for years, he finally earned it back from his cousins. But here's the real question that has everyone talking: what happens next? Because while the OG Bloodline won this battle, the war is far from over. Solo Psycho doesn't strike me as the type to accept defeat and walk away. Jacob Thatcher is still lurking as one of the most dangerous performers in WWE. And let's not forget, Jey Uso is on Raw, Jimmy is on SmackDown, and Roman's path forward is unclear. Final trivia question for you: in what year did the Usos first win the WWE Tag Team Championships? Drop your knowledge in the comments. Crown Jewel 2025 gave us a match that will be remembered for years. It was family drama, it was incredible athleticism, it was storytelling at its finest. The real Bloodline proved that no matter how much time passes, no matter how much betrayal occurs, blood is always thicker than water. Roman Reigns reminded Solo Psycho and the entire WWE universe why he's the tribal chief. The Usos reminded everyone why they are legendary. This is Wrestling Zone Insider, and we'll continue bringing you the best breakdowns, analysis, and coverage of every major WWE moment. What did you think of this match? Who was the MVP? And where does the Bloodline saga go from here? Sound off in the comments, and remember, acknowledge the real tribal chief.